Hello, welcome to the KGNetwork.com Coaches Show here in Bath County. I'm Philip Smith. I'm joined here by high school head coach Reed Fields. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing fine.
Looking back after last Friday's game, had a loss, but what can the team bring away from that?
I think like that definitely they need to focus on being more prepared as soon as the game starts. I don't think we're mentally ready, and Lewis County scores on the first drive, and after that we pretty much shut them down. But I just don't think our defense was settled in ready to play from a mental standpoint. For what reason, I don't know. And definitely we saw a form of defense we hadn't seen out of Lewis. So we just it's going to help us down the road. You know, I'm trying to take positive away from that. We can be prepared for that now. We just seen them run a forefront. That's pretty much all we worked on. I'll take responsibility for that for staff. But our kids made some adjustments on the fly, and it didn't seem like they adjusted to those two well.
Lewis normally runs a wing T, don't they?
They run somewhat of a wing. They run a lot of power I, both, and they lose some spread. They didn't get in spread much against us, but mainly just a hybrid wing T and power I.
Is there anything that we can take away from last week's game coming up to this week's game on the road?
Well, I felt like we buckled down defensively after that first drive, and you know we put them in some bad spots from an offensive standpoint. But I think their offense started inside of our 30 like 3 times, and we got no points. So that's a positive to me. And the fact that we were able to throw the ball, even though they were pinning riggers come back, and we were inside the 23 different times and should have scored and didn't get in the end zone. So we just have to mature and go ahead and finish the deal with it.
I know there were some weird calls and things like that. Did the players get frustrated, or are they just looking forward to this games out of their head and get ready for this next
I just
game?
think they're ready to play this week. We're ready to go. We gave them off Monday because I felt like they needed a break. We were practicing hard and doing a lot of conditioning on Monday, trying to get their legs fresh. And we're going to get it together, and hopefully it'll be this week. We got a game plan together for East Carter. I know have a new coach up there in place. He's doing a great job with them, and it looks like they're learning his system well. So we're going to have to play. Anytime you go on the road, you're dealing with high school kids. You don't know exactly how they're going to deal with things. So I know we're prepared the best we can. Hopefully, the right mentally.
I know here at the beginning of the season, this is kind of a big game. I know some of your coaching staff and some of your players, this will be a real big game to go to. But looking forward, is there anything that your team as a whole will need to actually work on to go against this team?
Oh, definitely. Any team we play, we're going to have to work on blocking. We couldn't get our running game going. We're going from the week before where Garrett Vinegar rushes for 309 yards. He has negative yards this week. We kind of abandoned the run just because we weren't getting it done from a run blocking standpoint. So we've got to really work on that this week. We've got to keep our heads about us, and if they line up in a different formation, we have to just communicate on the line. We didn't do that very well. And we have to pass block better as well. They got quite a bit of pressure on us when we were trying to throw, even though we did throw for quite a few yards. We could have had a lot more, but there was too much pressure there.
Looking back at the film, how's your defense looking, Coach, right now? I mean, coming to this next game, looking at the film, is their defense going to be where it needs to be, you think?
I think it will. I think our defense is, in fairness to them, you can't expect your defense to hold teams to much under 10 points. I mean, your offense has to put points on the board, and I'll take full responsibility for that. I'm the offensive coordinator, and we're going to make some changes as far as scheme and as well as personnel this week, and we'll get it going this week. We'll get some points on the board. Just keep our defense playing and improving every week, and we should be fine.
I know we're always the big deal is make sure our players are hydrated. Make sure that now it's going to be keeping them warm, kind of make sure they're getting used to playing with a wet ball, because elements, you never know how it's going to be.
Yeah, we'll be out today, and we'll probably dip the ball in water and everything else today, just trying to get ready for that. So it's going to be enough out there, but we'll try to make sure it's wet enough, because I think, Friday they're calling for scattered rain, but you can't worry about the weather. Coach Ramey, my coach, always said you can't worry about it. You might as well get ready to play in. There's nothing you can do, and you just go out and give all you got. Try to take care of it and hope you have the least turnovers, because there are going to be turnovers when it's wet.
You see a pretty good outcome this week?
I can see. It seems like when I try to predict my team playing well, we don't. So I'll just say whoever plays the hardest and wants it the most will come out with the victory this week. I think the teams are pretty close matched, and we'll be tickled if we can come with the victory. We want to be 500 going there off week. It's critical for us.
If we could go out there right now on the field with the boys, and you could only tell them one thing, and they were going to go play East Carter right now, what would you tell them?
Be ready to open the snap and leave it all on the field. Don't take anything with you, because if you take one play off, it can cost you a game. We saw that last week.
All right, Coach. And what do you see are going to be the keys to winning?
Okay, keys to the game this week definitely would have to be we've got to establish a running game. We have to get a running game going early, and we have to do some play action off of that, but we have to, you know, try to establish our line from a physical standpoint the way we did the week before against West Carter. And if we're running the ball, we're a completely different team because we know we can pass it. If we get a running game going, it loosens them up or brings them up, so we have you know, more opportunities to pass the ball. So that would be it from an offensive standpoint. Defensive standpoint, we have to read our keys, and not try to do too much. Play our position and trust our teammates to do their job, because if you start getting a wing T team that East Carter runs, they're disciplined in what they do, and they're going to try to take advantage of your mistakes and get you out of position. So we just have to play our position, trust our teammates. If they get a 6 or 7 yard gain, don't fly down there the next time, because if you do, they're going to bust it for a big run in your place where you're supposed to be. So that's probably the two most critical things.
How do you think how's Clark throwing the ball right now? You think he's
I thought he
ready for this?
threw the ball well last week, and you know, he had a lot of pressure on him. Just had some drop balls. He made a couple throws, maybe questionable, but you know, he's under a lot of pressure, and he's a competitor. He's going to try to make plays. That's what he does. So, in fairness to Lewis County, they brought a lot of pressure on us, but we got to learn how to handle that. And I thought we passed block really well up until last week. And I don't know if we've had a bug as well. Last week we had several players sick going into the game. A couple of them didn't even tell me how sick they were, and I saw them, you know, on film, and a couple of them had to come out. So there's a virus going around, but I think we're through that now. So.
Do we have anybody injured right now, Coach?
Just banged up. Travis Walters was out last week, so we should be good to
Everybody
go.
should be able to healthy now.
Yep.
And anything big happening in the team? Anything new? Anybody switching up positions we should know about?
Not really. We're trying to get DJ in there a little bit more and get him conditioned. Last week we tried to get him some carries, but from a condition standpoint, he wasn't ready to go. He played real big on defense for us last week, and thought Griffin Bradley played well last week again. He was on the show with us last week, so he had another big game at linebacker for us. I'm not sure how many tackles he had. Other than that, it was not a great performance offensively, so we'll have to better that this week. We spend a lot of time on offense.
All right, Coach. And so just wrapping up, pretty much what we need to look for is they've just pretty much got to buckle down out there this week, and they've got to
Definitely.
We got to
get the
focus.
running game going. We got to focus on what we're doing, not have stupid penalties. We had some penalties open field penalties that were aggressive, but they're behind the play with no influence on the play, so they're going to call those every time, even if it's a clean shot or whatever. They're going to call unnecessary roughness if it's not anything to do with the play. And that's a point of emphasis for officials this year. So that's definitely something we can't do. We're not good enough to overcome those type of penalties, 15-yard penalties. You just can't. When it's a battlefield position, you just can't have those.
So pretty much our offense just need to buckle down and go out there and play this week.
If we play like we're capable of playing, I think we'd be fine. But you know, again, you never know. You never know. I know we're prepared. We've walked through every scenario that we feel like we can face offensively and defensively, and we got to go out and execute now and get it done. And we want to have them motivated to play.
Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Just remember, everyone out there, just go ahead and give you a reminder that you can always watch this Coaches Show from Bath, Nicholas, and Fleming every week on KNGNetwork.com on Thursdays. And on Friday nights at 7, you can always watch the football games hosted by Brad Ballinger on KNGNetwork.com. So go ahead and once again thank all of our sponsors today. We're brought to you today by the Owensville Banking Company with 3 locations here in Owensville. We're also brought to you by the Insurance Center on West Main Street. And of course, St. Joseph Mount Sterling, where around here you can't get much better health care than that. I'd like to go ahead and thank everybody, and you have a great day. Remember, KNGNetwork.com, and look for us on Facebook.